Okay. So now that I've gone through all of my show notes and we are ready to have a conversation with Dr. Stanley, we are going to bring her to the stage. Coming to you, just bring her on. Hello, Doc. How's it going?
Hello, hello. Can you see me?
How are you doing today?
There we go. How are you? Thank you, thank you. Thank you for having
Um,
me.
Oh, absolutely. I am absolutely happy to have you. And I'm excited that we're going to get a chance to delve into mental health and what that looks like and how we deal with trauma. Oh, we're going to have a good old time. But there are people in the world who do not know who you are. So, what we're going to do right now is give you an opportunity to tell them a little bit about yourself. Cool?
Okay, that sounds good to me. So, thank you for introducing me. My name is Dr. Stacey Stanley, and I am a psychologist, an author, an educator, and a workshop facilitator, motivational speaker. And my focus is on social behavior and cognitive areas of psychology. With that being said, SEL, social emotional learning, is growing in the field, is growing in the schools, and spending time working with children, their families, and staff to cover social emotional learning. That is the goal. How to be aware of self-regulation skills and being able to socialize and connect with one another as youth going into adulthood. So I appreciate you having me on.
Absolutely, absolutely. We have a great time, and mental health is a really big context of what we do, especially in the context, especially when we're talking about social emotional learning. I think sometimes people forget that we, as a society, there are social rules that we have, and those social rules are what kind of governs us and moves us forward, and gives us the rules on how to engage with each other. If you are born
Right.
and develop in a different society, you may not understand the social customs in a place. The example we use is the first time I went to a Catholic mass. I thought that the little the pew the kneeling I can't remember what they call it, the part that they put out to kneel on. I thought that they were just so fancy that they had like fluffy footrest. I was like, oh, this is, you must have to take your shoes off at this church and relax your feet, because I didn't know the social customs. So I would have walked in,
Right.
I walked in, I was like, oh, playing with, and they were like, don't do that. I was like, why? It's a footrest. No, that's where we kneel to pray. Oops. And so
You
I
sound like
appreciate.
me.
Oh, word? That's your. It sounds like that.
I had that same experience. I went for the first time years ago to a wedding. And I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, something
And, and,
fancy.
and when you talk about social emotional learning, I like the fact that you're talking about the entire, all of the stakeholders' involvement, not just teaching the students how to regulate themselves so they can appropriately interact with adults, but also helping the families create a context for them so that they can even explore some of these emotions. Hell, I meet adults all the time that have never explored more than two pieces in their emotional range. So tell us a little bit
Right.
more about the work that you do and how you help people navigate these spaces.
Well, see, the thing is that when you are, um, uh, you can think of social. That means that you're interacting with other people, and emotional. You're thinking about your feelings, being expressive, and then you hear learning, right? So you're learning
Mm-hmm.
a new skill, a new technique.
Mm-hmm.
However, it all comes together. It all comes together. And sometimes people do not know how to express themselves. I found
Mm.
out after working with so many children is that kids are really great with expressing their emotions. It's not necessarily a learned behavior because they don't have
Mm.
a strategy with it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
To come in with a strategy, they blatantly say how they feel. If I want to
True that.
talk, you know, such a mean, such a, you know, they blatantly say things. Where it
Yes.
changes is when they get older in school certain trauma experiences, them being able to express themselves in a way that they were used to, not necessarily taught, but the way they were used to.
And I love the fact that you juxtapose this idea of kind of the natural development or the natural maturation of emotional wherewithal to this idea that a lot of that is taken away when we try to train them on how to interact in our society. Oh, and it's so funny.
Right.
I have this conversation with parents often about the truth. It's like the example I use is like, I remember when I was young, there was a lady at the church that nobody really liked, but she had some titles or something like that. So everybody was very respectful for her. And I remember one time my grandmother was talking to the lady and was like, "Oh, there's Sister Jones," whatever her name was. Sister Jones. Oh, Sister Jones is so great. And I was like, "No, you said she's mean. That's not true." Like, and guess what? I got hit in the mouth. Not hit, but like popped in the mouth. Hello? Okay, you can hear me. I'm sorry. I got stuck on the throat. So I got popped in the mouth. So what I learned was that the truth is designed. You don't use the truth if it will disrupt the social structure. You hide your feelings. You aren't honest because society requires you to lie. It requires my grandmother to tell Sister Jones that Sister Jones was great, and when she absolutely didn't believe that. So I'm grateful for the way that you structure those. Thank you.
Yeah, well, one of the key areas is being responsible for decision making. Making the decision on how you want to express, being able to make the decision in how you express yourself, your feelings, being respectful when you're doing it. And also another thing is the social awareness, being aware. Being able to share, being able to empathize. So it's pretty much a dialogue either way you look at it. So it's social emotional learning is not something a one person learned skill. I'm just going to do this on my own. Is a dynamic of your community, whether it's any stakeholders, whether it's teachers, adults, anyone that's in authority figures, so community. It really does take a village with social emotional learning.
Absolutely. And you actually write a lot about how to work with children and get them to understand and navigate through these spaces. Tell us a little bit of, because I enjoy when I have a writer on here give me something to read, Bo. Tell me a little bit about your books and how what got you started.
So the first book was a 52-week motivation journal that was published during the time of the pandemic. And that was in 2020, late 2020. And that was designed around me having to figure things out throughout my college journey with my PhD. One of the things that I found that was hard was at first was trying to balance being a single mom, balance being a business owner, because at that time I had a salon. I'm a retired cosmetologist. So being able to figure out everything was a challenge for me. And I needed a little bit more structure. And with that, being able to know what I could do more of, what I can do less of. Being able to know what my goals and aspirations were at that time. Being able to set everything out. I grew up writing. That was just a part of what I did, being able to journal. However, it was not in a structured way. It was just a matter of being expressive with paper and my book. So being able to create something that was 100% full color. There are motivation quotes from Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., Dr. Maya Angelou, Marcus Garvey, and myself. I've also created some motivational quotes that will help people on with their week getting yourself started, because sometimes you're not going to have a good week. So you need something to kind of boost you. So having it in 100% color, having something to motivate you and keep you going, but also having the opportunity to rate yourself. So just imagine rating yourself at the end of the week. Yeah.
I think
So that followed. I'm sorry.
That tool sounds incredible, because no matter how you rate it, it is a really good marker on how you see self. And once you have that marker, then you can start digging into, well, how did you get to that number? How did you get to that rating? And really be able to dig deep into some of the things, other things that may be going, go ahead with your bad self. I see you. Okay.
Yeah. And that's what it's about. It's about seeing yourself, not how other people see you. It's a reflection of your self-awareness. It all comes down to your self-awareness. Here we go with the social emotional learning. It still involves your self-awareness. And of course, as parents, and I can only speak from a mom point of view, being a mother, sometimes it's hard to be able to balance that out emotionally and physically, to the point where if you do not catch yourself, the next couple months, you can either spiral up or spiral down.
Yep.
So it's a very important tool. So with that, as being an adult, and you're getting yourself together, because you're no good to your children if you're not any good to yourself. So what comes along with that is helping your children be able to learn those social emotional skills. And with All About Me, Can't You See? It's a social emotional learning book. It's a book that you can use for child-centered time. Child-centered time, it doesn't have to be a full hour. It doesn't have to be 2 hours. It does not even have to include spending money, even though sometimes going for a little bit of ice cream, or candy is really good. However, being able to learn about your child and learn about yourself, and then be able to discuss it with your child.
Absolutely. That is
so
an
that's
amazing
what All About Me.
I'm sorry, I was co-signing.
That's what
I
All
think I
About
got
Me,
a little
Can't
bit
You
of a
See?
lag, so I was co-signing on what you were saying. I think it's wonderful.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah. So All About Me, Can't You See? Is that's what it's designed to do. It's a coloring book included, but it also consists of being able to, what is it that you like? What is, as a child, what makes you happy? Things like that. And you can actually write it, or you can draw it, or color it, being creative. And it's for, and I'm going to say this because it's not, after I published it, I learned that the age really doesn't matter, but it was actually designed in mind for K3.
Okay.
However, I've had some adults who wanted to purchase it for themselves, and the feedback that I received, that it was very therapeutic for them. It was something that they was able to learn more about themselves.
Absolutely. And I know we got another book to talk about, but after that, I want you to talk a little bit about how you've been able to help people who may not have had that type of social emotional support, or may have even had some adverse childhood experiences, so they don't have the context or the experience of what that type of support feels like. How do you help them, one, identify that they don't, and two, help them build that?
So one of the things I do, I actually, my business, well, one of my businesses is Expressions Mentoring and Consulting, and I partner schools within Baltimore City, and within those and specifically elementary schools. So partnering with those schools and working with children such as in pre-K, kindergarten, early Head Start, you are bound to see where there are some gaps, even at home. some
Mm-hmm.
disconnects between the relationship that a child has with their teacher, because they're still building a relationship. They're in school for all of these hours. Your teacher, your staff, you're building relationships. It's
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes the relationship is more stronger at school
Mm-hmm.
than it is
Mm-hmm.
at home.
Yeah.
So what I found out during, my time working with these students and teachers is that just simple love, being able to listen. Um, some parents just, it's easy to give your child a cell phone, a tablet, or put them in front of a TV to
Mm-hmm.
say, keep busy, keep quiet while I do what I need to do.
Yes.
And that can be very hard.
Well,
So
and
so
what?
what do you do? Like,
Go ahead. No, go ahead. Go ahead and finish up your
I
thought
was saying,
because
yes, I'm sorry. I was saying, what do you do in the case when you have a child who hasn't experienced any love at home, or, just a simple "I love you," or a simple. And that was one of the things that I was able to give them, not to be able to substitute for what they may receive at home, but being able to be an addition to their
right,
lives, being
right.
able to teach those skills of love, empathy, being good listeners, making good decisions. You know, those decision making skills are really heavy at ages
And
three
they're
and four
not
years
just
old.
they get developed at that time frame, but what we find is that the thing that gets developed in the 3, 4 to 7 year range becomes the guiding force of decision making for the rest of your life. It gets enhanced
Yep.
in teenage and adolescence, but that fundamental place in those spaces, that's where a lot of what they need to be successful, emotional regulation, communication skills, problem solving skills, conflict management skills, those things, if you teach them in that window, they become part of their consciousness, part of their identity. And what we end up is that in as much as we don't teach them enough about math and reading in those time frames, and we end up with them being academically illiterate or academically behind because we don't even pay a little bit of attention to the social emotional development. They have that same type of social emotional illiteracy, and you see them show up in community being illiterate. While their vocabulary may sound like the King's English, or proper speaking, their emotional regulation is so slang. It is, what are you doing? Like, how do you even control that? And then we blame them when we don't accept the responsibility that we did not even create a mechanism for them to learn those skills. And so that's why I'm really
Yeah.
grateful for the work that you're doing and what you're sharing with members of the community, because a lot of us as parents, we're still trying to figure out how to regulate ourselves emotionally at work when we're like, I'm gonna go to the bathroom or go outside, smoke a little bit, like, oh my God. And it's like, whoa, calm down. Like, why are you upset? And to really talk, we don't even have the tools to talk ourselves off the ledge. We know we got, hey, do me a favor, hey girl, do me a favor, talk me off the ledge because I'm about to go in here and beat somebody's ass. And we got to make that phone
Yep.
call because nobody has taught us how to do it ourselves.
But guess what? Sometimes we surround ourselves and we give access. We give that access for people to come into our lives and
Mm,
be able to keep us on the ledge. But what we don't know is that when we surround ourselves with positive people that will be able to help talk us off that ledge. You're going to have
mm-hmm.
that person when you're very irate and you make that phone call like, look, this is what I'm getting ready to do. Because believe it or not, I mean, and we see it on TV. It's just that we see, people, strangers walking into the school, mass shootings. However, there are parents that come into the schools very irate,
Mm-hmm.
may
Mm-hmm.
not know the full story, may not know the full story on anything, but they just
Anything.
come in irate.
What I found
So,
when I was,
is that what you found?
Oh no, go ahead, finish up. I'll cover that point in a minute.
I was like, what we don't do is that we don't provide enough resources for our families to be able to in turn help their children.
One of the things that I found in working at school systems, especially when I've been able to de-escalate situations or create a relationship or rapport with an irate parent, when I talk to them about kind of their background and their experience in school, they talk about how they hated it and stuff like that. And what I ended up realizing was that a lot of their irate wasn't really their anger; it was confusion because they don't understand what's going on, and it was a part of their anxiety from going to the principal's office. Like I have to go up here, I have to leave work, and a lot of it is the normal pressures of adulthood and being a parent. Because in case you any youth out there, hell, even us old folk, we need to remember our parents have no idea what they're doing even now. Everybody is just guessing. And so now, because I've had a scary experience in school, and now you're about to have this experience, and I don't even know how to navigate. They're gonna say words to me that I don't understand, and they're gonna try to make me look dumb and like I don't know, and like I'm not a good parent. And then they may call somebody, and I've gone through all of that before I walk into the front office front door. So I've already had the argument in my head, and I'm showing up ready to do it because that's been my experience.
Yeah, and that's where just increased awareness come. And what I've been on the mission to do is to be able to connect with more schools, even throughout Maryland. My partnerships with Baltimore City, Baltimore County, and Anne Arundel County Public Schools, just being able to provide workshops, informative workshops, and seminars to help parents, because none of us come with any kind of manuals, right? And just like you can do any edit in a book, it's hard to edit us as parents when we've been already used, for some of us who've been parents for a few decades. You know, how do you come in and change what the mentality is really hard. So if you don't have someone who's already in the community, and for one, me being as a woman, I am a mom, I have a teenager, and I have an adult who is close to 30, and the times are different.
Absolutely.
The times are so different. The schools are different. The teachers are different. The administrators, the principals, like everyone, it's a whole different era from years ago. So just being able to bring that awareness into the schools to be able to help families, not just parents, because being connected to the schools, you'll learn that you have next door neighbors and unknown family members who are now raising kids because of the parents being incarcerated, consuming substances that leave them not even aware that their child is in school, who their teacher is, what grade their own child is, where the school building is. Oh, they have homework. Some of them don't know that. So it's a lot to share in this community. It's a lot to be taught, and being able to take advantage of that to build those social emotional skills, self-awareness, self-development, making appropriate decisions, just the basic tools. We see it as big, but they're technically basic tools.
They absolutely are. Like, you know, walking isn't a big deal, but think about how important that skill is. It's like, you know, I mean, it's not a complicated task. Like, we do it regularly, but without that skill set, you are at a severe disadvantage. We've talked a little bit about the parents and the students and that type of engagement and the importance of it in the students' social emotional learning and their development. But one of the things that we also have going on is this mass exodus from the teaching profession. We have professional educators who are just done. And a lot of them had challenges before COVID. But as the lockdown happened and they went from being celebrities when parents realized, like, oh my God, I don't know how to teach reading, to like how you deal with all I only got my 2 kids at home and you got 30 of them. I don't know how you do this. They went from being celebrities and celebrated to being pariahs and who are guilty and who are selfish and those types of things. And on top of that, this lack of engagement for the 2 years and that social emotional development, the standards and customs and behaviors that students should have, many students didn't learn that, and those who did know it before, a lot of them have forgotten it. So there's this entirely new type of culture that has come back to the schools as they reopened, and a lot of teachers find it untenable and they're leaving the profession. So as a professional who focuses on mental health, what advice do you give teachers to either address burnout, change the culture, or is it just the best if this doesn't fit you to leave? How do you advise them?
You know what, and it is true, because like I said, I surround myself with schools and working with teachers, students, and parents. But the one thing I've noticed, and it goes back to what I offer, if there's a professional development that is available for them, not a professional development that they're used to doing, in every workshop that I do, unless it's just a seminar where I'm just lecturing, but a workshop is really a workshop.
Right.
The skills you're going to use is not just facilitated in a way that is being lectured, but it's actually given in a way that you can use hands-on skill building tools to be able to present this in the classroom. And that's what a lot of teachers are not receiving. They're receiving these professional development days and times where it doesn't apply to what's needed in the classroom to help their child. It's not designed to prevent burnout. It's not designed to balance emotions, to make those great decisions of should I stay or should I leave?
Right.
Because you have some of the best teachers that are out, they're retiring, they're leaving, they trying schools, they're moving to different states.
And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that the professional development and the types of supports, like you said, that are there for them are not really there for them. They are people who don't work in classrooms, who see brochures and things like that come across their desks, and they fit in budgets. And hey, guys, based on what you've said, this is the professional development for you. Again, not really understanding or learning the people that they work with, which I think, as you mentioned before, I think that it is understanding and self-regulation is incredibly important in social emotional learning. And if you are trying to teach social emotional learning, but you're not exercising the skills to learn about the people that you're teaching to, then you're just teaching them what you want to know or what you want them to know. It is not genuine to help them meet their needs, or at least that's the way I look at it.
Or to get out of their comfort zone. I mean, it's pretty much the same thing you were saying, because you can become so comfortable, and especially depending on what community you're in, depending on what community that the school is in, you're going to receive every school that I've worked with completely different. The community has been completely different. And when I mean different, I mean even from ethnical backgrounds, racial differences, everything, religious difference, completely different, even language difference. Working with schools who have predominantly Spanish speaking families, being able to address their needs. I found out in some of the workshops that I facilitated is that they have a hard time being able to express themselves because of the lack of English knowledge. And even when it comes down to they have difficulties reading.
Mm-hmm.
They have difficulties being able to read the information.
Yeah.
And I was talking to a good friend of mine who has worked in the school system, and we both said the same thing. They're having a hard time even in their own, in their Spanish language, being able to communicate what they need.
Yes.
So just
And
imagine we're coming in and they don't know.
I mean, think about how many Americans who are born here who have been taught English their entire lives still have difficulty with basic concepts. You're asking them to not only understand this concept, but to understand it in another language. And in many cases, some of the concepts we're trying to share, there's not even a cultural reference point for them. Like, when you think of
Yep.
idioms and things like it's raining like cats and dogs. Honestly, I've said that myself. I still don't know what it means because that I've never seen it rain cats and dogs. And if I did, it would not be. I would not think of rain at that point. I would think nightmares. So like, I use it and don't know what it means. And imagine saying that somebody's raining like cats and dogs. Like, what the hell happens in your country? What are you talking about? Maybe I don't understand English as good as I thought because it. What do you throw them off of buildings? Like, what the hell is happening right now? But you're right about the
Exactly.
cultural context.
Right. It's really it's a challenge. It's a challenge overall, no matter what community we're in, and just being in Baltimore alone, you had some people walk out of their door, and I mean, just this weekend, Father's Day weekend, Juneteenth weekend, we had so many shootings within Baltimore,
Mm-hmm.
and one was a business owner. Like,
Mm-hmm.
what is going on? So you have kids who they already adjusted to that life of violence, and this is how I communicate how I feel. When I'm angry, I'm just going to kill someone. I've actually had children that said that to other kids,
Yeah,
as an immediate reaction to what was done or said to them. I'm gonna kill you. Or you see that they're using a pencil or scissors to harm another child
that is
because
something
they've
that they,
seen it.
yeah, that's something that they learned from someone. And it's about the social context as well. I did some work a long time ago in DC at this organization called the Covenant House, and I was volunteering when I had the online radio station back in the day, Radio for Real. Big up to the super producer, Kyle Crazy Horse Morgan. So I went there and I was interviewing. One of the projects we were doing is the archiving the voice, because this is in 2009ish, so podcasts weren't even a thing. That word didn't even exist back then. And so we were just recording it and burning it on a CD so they can hear their own voices. And I was doing an interview with one young man. He was a 10-year-old, and we're talking about tell me about your life or whatever. So tell me about your friends. He said, well, I used to have 3 best friends, but now I only have 2 because one of them got shot and he was killed. But that happens. So now, but at least I still have the 2 left. No, sir. No, sir. That doesn't just happen. And he said it with an affect that was just like, what? That doesn't happen to everybody. He had normalized the loss of a close friend as just something that happened. So what does that say to him about the value of life in general? If I am numb to the murder of my best friend, what does your life mean? Because I don't even like you.
Right. Yeah, it's completely hard, and I think that's going to take me into my third book. The reasoning behind that third book, it's an anthology. And when I first started the research on getting participants for this project, which the anthology was published and launched January 1st of this year. But it took almost 2 years. It took about a year and a half to complete it. There are 13 different stories in it. None of the stories are the same. You're dealing with death. You're dealing with caretakers. You're dealing with terminal illnesses. You're dealing with, and when I say death, not just death of a loved one or a parent, but even death of a child. Being able to uh, come back from divorce, uh, being able to balance life after losing your eyesight. So these are just some of the stories that are in this anthology, and I want to say thank you to everyone that played a part of this particular project, because this was not, I was just a visionary for it. I was just a visionary for it. And Alenia Renee actually provided motivations at the end of each of the stories. Because what's going to happen is that when you have people who experience things in their lives, there's no one there to motivate them. There's no one there to keep them going. So this wasn't just about them telling their story. This was, how can I turn my story into a lesson or a help for someone else? And that was the purpose of it. Similar to a diamond and the process of a diamond, the heat, the pressure that it goes through before it gets to its final destination, which is generally on someone's neck or finger, wrist, earrings, however those diamonds are displayed. But people don't understand, before it gets to a diamond, how long it actually had to go through its course, the process of that heat and that pressure to become as beautiful and valuable that it is. Whether it's a ruby or a amethyst or a diamond, it still goes through pressure and process to get to the final destination. So that's what that last one is about. It's about those psychological impacts that they experience. They experience to get to, and some of them are still balancing it till this day, being able to, figure out life through it all.
Because that is the biggest thing, is how do you take all of this information that you have? How do you make decisions? How do you plan for the life that you want to lead and keep your resources focused in that direction? On the book, All About Me, Can't You See? One of the things I wanted to share with the audience, because a lot of times, there are people who call themselves authors, and it's like, oh yeah, okay, you put a pamphlet together and sold it on YouTube or something. I mean, on one of those sites. But I want to read one of the reviews that you have on It's All About Me, Can't You See? It says, this is such an excellent addition to our library. The kids love all of the activities and enjoy to read along as well. Absolutely love this book, all caps, and recommend it to all with little ones and teachers of little ones as well. That is and it's a verified customer account. That is, and I do that on purpose, because there are people, like you said, there's a lot of information out here. Who do you trust? And one of the things that we advise people to do is to look at what people say about it. Look at what people say about the research. Now, it can't be 100% necessarily, but it gives you at least an idea of how to begin. And I wanted people to know what they were working with, because I tell people we bring dope people to the table all the time. I don't want them to think like, oh, she ain't really dope. They just saying that. There's no example. And to the Motivational Journal, there's another review that you received. This Motivational Journal is one of the best tools you can use to dive deep into your purpose, look within, and so much more. This journal is perfect for me, not only because I dive deep into my purpose, but it gives me a visual reminder of why I wanted to take action in the first place. Also, the colors on every page is so vibrant. I absolutely love this book. So again, and the interesting part, she had no idea that I was going to actually read because I'm good at ambushing. Oh, I don't. You put yourself in harm's way. And if you bullshit, I gotta do my job and call you bullshit. If you are. But I also, in as much as I would to protect my audience from somebody who's scamming, I want to make sure that they understand that dope people come with dope references. We come with receipts. We don't just come to the table and tell you what we
That's
think
right.
we done it and got some receipts for it.
I know that's right. Look, but you know what the funny thing is? The funny
Mhm.
thing is that I get emails because even though some people purchase. Let's say I'm just going to say it like this: most people literally reach out to me via email, phone, even at vending events that I show up at. Speaking events that I show up. I always have my materials, my publications with me, and I
Mhm.
get a lot of feedback. I've had people email me, so they won't necessarily just I don't know why, maybe because they don't want anything really out there, they want to secure their
Right.
privacy. I get it.
Yeah.
But I get a lot of emails regarding feedback from it, from the books. The anthology just literally started
Mhm.
in January, so they've been selling through events and that I've been speaking at or vending at. But I get a lot of email feedback, and it's very similar to what you just read. Thank you for your research. I appreciate it.
No problem. No problem.
That's good that you were able to do your research.
No problem. Absolutely. Now, as we get
So
ready to wrap this up, I
one
know
thing I
we
do
don't.
want to share too,
Yeah, yeah.
I want to share that the children's book is literally now this week will be live on Amazon in a 100% Spanish translation.
Oh, okay. Go ahead. Inclusion. That's a really, and actually that actually brings me into the question that I want to ask, kind of wrapping us up with this, is as you have navigated this space as an entrepreneur, and we talk about the decisions in the social emotional learning, but as an entrepreneur, that's the same kind of thing you got to deal with yourself. You got to figure out, as you navigate through your space and your place and do your thing, how to make these decisions. Even the decision to be inclusive as far as language is concerned and have the book translated into another language, that is a business decision that has significant implications into the trajectory of your enterprise. So how tell us just a little bit about what that has been like, and what has been your motivation in really pushing your business in a number of different areas. So it's not like, oh, I decided I'm gonna be an author today, so I author today. It's like, oh no, today I'm gonna be a business consultant. No, like I do them all, and I do them well. I get accolades and kudos. So how do you make that happen?
So I get that. Some of my friends tell me, they be like, so when I'm events, they're like, oh, what Dr. Stacey didn't share was she does this, this, and this. And I don't know. I feel like so I'm also a professor as well. So I teach at
Okay.
a university. I teach psychology. But
Okay.
I do leave a lot off. I leave a lot off because not purposeful that I leave a lot off. It's just that I'm a kind of behind the scenes type of professional. I
Mm-hmm.
want to be able to see people grow and develop, not necessarily shine the light on me. So, but one thing I do as a business owner is I'm a good listener
Mm-hmm.
to the organizations that I collaborate with, being able to see what their needs are. And two of the schools that I partner with, their students, their families are like over 80% Spanish speaking families.
Okay.
So you have to listen to what the needs are, because if not, if I did everything based on the way I want to do it, I would never be successful. Not successful necessarily financially successful, because that's
Right.
not the first go to. Being able to be successful with making an impact in the community.
Mm-hmm. And I think
So
what you are
I can't.
demonstrating. Go ahead.
Uh, I was just finishing up the sentence. In order for me to do that, I had to just be able to listen, see what needs are.
Oh yeah, what I was about to say is even better once you finished. I apologize for interrupting you. Um, because like I was saying, one of the things that I have noticed about the material that I've seen about you, and even in this conversation, is that you have a very customer centric, problem solving way of approaching your business, the community, and these problems. And what that does, at least from my vantage point, and by the way, I am an expert in small business because that's what I do. From my vantage point, that provides a really critical foundation for sustainability, because the way I teach my clients about their engagement with their customers is that your target customer is the one that writes the check. So if you don't understand, if you have not learned them, you have not got a sense of what motivates them, what their needs are, and how to engage them, you're going to be guessing a lot, and you're going to get a lot of it wrong. And so as just as a business professional, I appreciate the way that you engage kind of the business portion of the whole model. So I just want to say that, because again, it's rough out here.
Thank
So
you.
whenever we get an opportunity to compliment somebody, we should take it.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I really do. I get I guess that's when a little bit of the imposter syndrome mixed in. Is like, I know I could be doing a little bit more, but it's like, okay, you really a lot. And it's so much. It just really goes to show that there's a lot more work to be done, and to be able to collaborate with other people, like-minded people, to be able to service the community and service impact in an impactful way, to be able to provide services, for those purposes, not for us, but to help those in the community.
Amen. Amen. And all right. I hate the fact that we're coming up on time, or that we've come up on time. But what I want to do is to absolutely, you have the links to set up another interview. I would love to have you back. And separately, I would love to talk to you about potential collaboration, because some of my partners and I have designed some engagement around accountability for risk management and compliance and accountability for high school students, or for high schools. And also professional development in diversity, equity, and inclusion. So I think we got a couple of things that you and I could talk about, help the community, help them understand what's going on.
And you know what the funny thing is, I know we're getting ready to wrap up. The funny thing is that I actually am a member of the American Psychological Association, and Division 1 is one of my primary active divisions, and inclusion and diversity is a part of what we stand for as a general psychology division. And it's not just a national thing, it's an international thing that involves the inclusion. I've also partnered with research and from other psychologists in another country. So it doesn't necessarily mean, just in Baltimore or just in the state of Maryland or within the United States. Inclusion and diversity is all over. And that's you have people coming from other countries here, so being able to accommodate and provide diversity and inclusion is a goal. So I would love to collaborate and partner. Of course.
We're gonna do that. So before you go, you got to sell them something. You got to tell them how they can reach out and contact you and stay in touch with you and all that other good stuff.
Absolutely. You can definitely keep in contact with myself, Dr. Stacey Stanley, with Expressions Mentoring and Consulting. You can email at XP, and that's X as in X-ray. There's no E in front of the X. So it's XPRESSIONSMC@gmail.com. Or you can log on to our website. You can check our website out, all the different services that we offer. You can also order all three of the books by either email or via our website at www.xprision-nm as in Mary E.com. Once again, that is www.xpression-me.com. Also, you can reach us. Our business line is 410-705-4522. And I appreciate you having me on, Mr. Honorable. I appreciate everything.
Absolutely, absolutely. I tell these people all the time that I know dope folk. I know who does what in the community,
I
how
know
they
that's
hold
right.
it. And you know, as I mentioned in the lead-in, Dr. Stanley does the damn thing. Has had a significant impact on members of the community and things like that. And I thought, you know, because I don't like to. Y'all know that's a lie. I do love putting people's business in the street, but I was trying to be professional. Y'all not be getting show notes, and I was like, well, we're going to talk about the book, and I was like, so I'm just not going to be just ignorant, but it's okay. We're going to be ignorant next time. That's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. We're going to express ourselves because that's what.
Yeah, we're going to have some fun.
Yeah. I was trying to be professional.
Absolutely.
This is your first time and my birthday's coming up, so I'm like, I need to do something. You know, I need to calm myself down and stuff like that. So yeah. But next time.
See, we could have celebrated. I have a birthday coming up too in the next few weeks.
When is your birthday?
July the 10th.
Mine's July 4th. Look at you, July babies. Whoop whoop.
We're good people. We're good. We're
absolutely
excellent.
Cancers are amazing. I had to sing about it a little bit.
Absolutely. especially the July ones.
Oh, we are extra special. Extra special. And see, I bring my oldest son in to July because he was actually supposed to be born on my birthday, but that mama needed his own day, so he came 7 days early. So I claim him as part of my July birthday, but we know how it goes.
My oldest is July the 5th. She decided she wanted to make her way after the fireworks, so.
I understand. And you know, I'm grateful as mine is the 4th. So, you know, I don't have to share it with her. It's fine.
Yeah.
All right, Doc. Looking forward to the next time having you on, and we can chop it up and have some more fun.
Yeah, let me know when you're ready. When you're ready, I'm ready.
Don't threaten me with a good time. All right, you have a great one, and I'm looking forward to talking to you next time.
All right.
All right, bye. Yo, what did I tell y'all people? I know dope folk. Man, listen, y'all don't even understand the dopeness I just associate myself with. Like, it's like, ooh, I just got so much dope on me. It's just, oh wait, no, not illegal dope. That's disrespectful. That's not what I'm talking about. Don't go around here telling people, oh, I think William get high. No, I'm talking about dope people, not like heroin. You knew what I was talking about. Don't be disrespectful. Oh my God. Somebody said that's not anybody except the people in your head. You know what? All of y'all disrespectful. I'm leaving. And guess what? We will be black tomorrow.